In a field shift, the fields remain the same, but the fields of different areas are shifted or rotated, so they are out of alignment with the field next to them. This conflict of alignment causes the shapes to appear. There is no contour line to show the edges. It's only the difference in the fields that lets you see where one area starts and one area stops. Because the field may be turned through a 360 degrees, you can have multiple layers that partially overlap each other, and still the whole shapes will show. To produce your field shift, you'll start with a background sheet field like this. Then you'll cut out other pieces to place on that field to make up your composition. Your first step should be to plan your composition. Remember, in this one I want you to use the whole space. Don't try and just put something in the very middle and leave a lot of negative space around it. Let's look at two student examples. Here a student used a face. Notice how little negative space there is around it, and the shapes of the negative space are more interesting than just a wide open area. Here another student did another face, but notice there's all this empty space around it. It looks like the head's floating in a sea of pattern. You could have put in the shoulders, or they could have put some other background in to fill in, maybe enhancing it as an attention-getting device. Your first step should be to plan out what your design is going to be. I suggest that what you do is turn your sheet over where you can lightly see the area you have to work in, and take your pencil and plan out what shapes you're going to need. Then on your second sheet that has just the pattern, you'll cut out the shapes from it. I'll suggest that what you do is when you draw these for the first time, draw them on the back so that no pencil marks show on the front. Be sure not to glue things down until you have everything cut out. That way, as you place your shapes on your paper, you can lay them down in order and make sure you get them just the way you want them. Also, not gluing them down allows you to make final small adjustments when you're just about finished and ready to glue it down. You can change things and decide if one thing is supposed to be underneath another. That if you'd already glued it down, it'd be impossible to do this. Then once you have it just the way you want it, go back and very carefully glue each piece down in order so that you have the composition the way you want. Again, first thing you do is plan on the reverse side of the sheet of paper. Make sure that you have a good relationship between the positive and negative space. Try and have good shapes that read well. Try and utilize an attention-getting device to make your composition interesting. Then cut your shapes out of the second piece of paper, making sure that the patterns are at different angles. Position them on your sheet. Don't glue anything down until you have them all positioned just the way you want, adding pieces, moving pieces, whatever you need to do to make it just the way it's supposed to be. Then finally glue things down in place and let them dry before turning them in.